I love technology. Okay. Welcome to my very first live stream. I am JDC. I drink whiskey. I'm very happy to see Aquavitae is here. Roy of Aquavitae. I am but a mere candle when compared to Roy's supernovic brilliance. Great to see you as well, Mike. I met Mike at a yes, yeah. Let's start again. It's good. It's good. I met Mike at a friend's wedding, and we have since become quite pally on the internet ourselves. So that says something for the institution of marriage. Whatever it does for the people getting married, it brings other people together. Oh, this is excellent. Okay. Yes, this is to celebrate my hitting 100 subscribers a few weeks ago, largely thanks to other members of the whiskey community. Of those, I would have to say Roy has been a huge help. Vin of No Nonsense Whiskey, Malted in Montreal, lots of support there. And the Scotch Test Dummies, who did a very, very gracious thing when YouTube announced a quick change to their monetization rules. Used to be get 10,000 views, channel-wide views. We'll let you monetize. I'd just gotten over the halfway point, and then they changed it. I don't know if it was in response to certain people who shall remain nameless, Logan Paul doing crazy things that made them go, well, let's make it a bit harder to get monetized. So they changed it to 10,000 subs. No, not 10,000. Oh, God, that would be awful. They changed it to 1,000 subs. And Scotch Test Dummies did a whip round for all us smaller channels. Hello, Dave. How are you, sir? Well, I guess I should just jump in and start answering some of these questions. I might answer some of my pre-asks first. And if things go really well, I'm going to have a nip of this J.P. Wiser's 18 years old in preparation for my reviewing it later. Because I do like to have a few sips and nibbles prior to doing a review. So I got two questions that kind of overlap a little bit. So I'll ask them together and sort of go into them a little bit. I got asked from Greg and Alex. First, Greg asked me, when they reuse casks, are there any restrictions on what can be used? And then Alex asked me the question, are casks always made of oak? Well, I know that, and I think Roy will probably be able to confirm this better than I know that to qualify as Scotch, you need to use oak. That is quite strongly... Yes, yeah, my collection. Yeah, there are other shelves in my living room that have a lot more bottles on them, but and that was getting a bit full. So you will see that shelf getting more laden as we go on. The casks, yes, oak, I believe, is generally what is used. It's a known quantity from years and years of experience, what oak will do to a spirit or to a wine. With Scotch, yeah, you do have to use oak. With bourbon, you have to use virgin oak. So I tried to see if I could find anything that was matured in something else, but I really couldn't find it. Granted, I only spent a couple of hours looking for it, but I figured if I hadn't found something in a few hours, I wasn't going to find it. So as far as I know, it's oak is the thing. Different kinds of oak give different kinds of flavors. You can pretty much recognize the Japanese stuff because they use the Mizunara oak. Mizunara! The oak cut by a ninja in half and then made into a barrel, and it has that kind of ninja-y taste to it that's very recognizable. No, it's got a kind of it's very fresh. I find some people say anemic. Japanese. Oh, here we go. I knew Roy wouldn't let me down. There are rumors of chestnut casks hiding in Scottish warehouses. Ah, but yes, yeah. And of course, yeah, there's the rub. Yeah, you mature it in something wacky and you can't call it whiskey anymore. So I hope that answers that question. Ninja taste. I have because I do a bit of a comic-y slant, I have a somewhat comedic and I hope not offensive idea when I do my first Japanese whiskey. Might have something to do with the Ninja Turtles. I don't know. Spoiler alert. Let's see. More questions. Let's see if I can. My favorite bar in Brisbane. Ah, yes, Jez. Jez gave me a plethora of questions. Thank you for that, Jez. My favorite bar at the moment, it's the Gresham. It's right across from Post Office Square, I think. It is a whiskey bar. It's great. You walk in, the music is not pummeling you. You're not being orally molested as you walk through the door. And yeah, it's from my experience so far, it's got the biggest range of stuff. And that has, yeah, so I like it. It's the Gresham. There are some other whiskey bars here. The Victory, which about 10 years ago was considered a bit of a dive. I went there recently with a couple of friends, and they've really gone all out. It's now pretty much the inside part of the Victory is a huge whiskey bar, and I was really quite surprised by the selection within. So the Victory is now quite an interesting place to go if you are a whiskey nerd. Roy, you must be up quite. Oh, it must be the morning for you fellows. You crazy Scots. Yeah. I know. I really wanted to. I'm probably going to do another one of these at a more weird time for me, but better for you guys. And then hopefully I'll be able to converse with my UK / US chums. But yeah, I just had a really busy week. I'm in a show. I've got singing gigs on, and this was the only night I kind of had free. And yeah, so I had to pick a time that was good for me. Also, Dave, you're in the UK as well. Oh, well, bless you, sir. I'm already jealous. I wish I lived in the UK. Except for the cold thing. I'm not really good with cold. But there you have it. I might see. I wish I could see. Oh, I can. I can. Ah, there we go. Ah, excellent. Might ask myself. Oh no, I'm not asking myself. Just finished a night shift. Oh, okay. Oh wow. Yes. Let's see. What got me into whiskey? Ah, okay. Yeah. It's a long story. As you may have picked up from watching some of my reviews, I do a lot of acting, singing, all that sort of jazz performance bits, and I was going to write a web series, and I wanted the main character to have some kind of quirk, and his quirk was going to be that he was a whiskey nerd. So I started, as you would do for any bit of writing, I just researched whiskey for a bit. So when this character talked about whiskey, whiskey fans would actually understand what he was saying. And then, lo and behold, I got interested in whiskey by researching it, realizing there was a bit more to it than I had first thought. Started drinking a few nicer drams, and here we are. I don't know what made me start a YouTube channel about it. I just did 1 or 2 reviews as a lark, and found I really enjoyed it. And it made me enjoy the whiskey more when I sit down and analyze it and go through it. And so I thought, yeah, I'll keep doing it. And here we are, 100 subscribers later. So that's how I got into whiskey. There were one or two people who told me there were. Oh, thank you so much, Roy. I know it is an awkward time of the day for you, but thank you so much. I've really enjoyed your support. It's hard to not enjoy someone's support, unless it's like this, really crazy stalker person, which Roy is not, as far as I'm aware, for legal reasons. I might just quickly put an update on Facebook because people have been saying, like people I know, so they're gonna, yeah. They've only really got started into whiskey 2 years ago. Yeah, I'd say roughly about the same for me. It's about, I want to say the end of 2016 is when I started. I think I started just by drinking Johnny Walker Black, which those of a more snobby disposition told me, oh, that's what people drink. I didn't think it was too bad. I was kind of butchering it because I was icing it. And I don't know, ice does something to Johnny Walker Black that's, I don't know, it gives it a kind of harshness that it doesn't have when you drink it neat. The fruitiness goes away. All right, I'm just typing out a message for people to remind them. Yeah. Excellent. Excellent, good. Let's see. Well, this has got to be a whiskey question here somewhere. Another one from Jez, who I've just been informed is watching, but can't contribute to the chat for religious reasons. What would I recommend as a starter scotch? Yeah, that's an interesting question. I think if you're of a mind to win someone over to whiskey, I think you have to kind of know what's stopping them from doing it now. Like, I know a lot of people, when they see me drink Scotch neat, they go, "Oh, I don't know how you do it. I don't know how you do it." And to me, that suggests that for them, they've obviously had an experience where they've drunk something that's been very, very harsh. Perhaps like a really cheap bourbon, which has that kind of alcoholic burn. And so you just give them something that will be the opposite of that. So I think the Glenfiddich 12 is a really good starter one. You kind of get a bit jack of it once you really get into whiskey, but as a starting dram, it's really good. It's not smoky because smoke does put some people off, and it's just quite pleasant nose, pleasant taste. You can drink it neat. It's an easy sipper. Another one of that kind is the Auchentoshan 3-wood. Auchentoshan. That's quite nice. Got a bit more of a Christmassy vibe, that one. So that's good. If you don't think the person will be put off by peat, a Highland Park 12, I think is a nice one. It's not too peaty, but the smoky influence is there with a lot of fruitiness. And there was another one too that I thought would be. Oh yeah, the Lagavulin 16, which I had when I was at the Victory, and was incredibly surprised by how much Scotch and bourbon and stuff was available. I had my first Lagavulin 16, and yeah, it's good. It's got that little minty edge to it, and the smokiness is not. But then I've heard people who have their first good whiskey was a Laphroaig 10. And when I had a Laphroaig, I was like, that kind of put me off peat for a very long time. So, everybody's different. Everybody's palate is different because we all had different upbringings, and so mine is probably influenced by eating a lot of, you know, Portuguese, Brazilian food. And it's things like that, you know. So everyone's unique. That's why you'll see two people do this review of the exact same dram and go have completely different, well, not completely different tasting notes, but, you know, roughly different tasting notes. Sorry if I pause from time to time. I'm very new to this, and this is the first time I've been nervous about anything in a long time. Let's have a CB. Look at more questions. I just did a whiskey one, so I should do a non-whiskey question next, I suppose. Kim, friend of mine from high school, sent me this question. Music. You used to play the piano. How long have you done music? Is it raw talent or do you work at it? Well, I did play the piano a bit in high school. I wouldn't say I played it. I kind of never learnt the piano. And I only really play the piano to help me with the singing, which is what I do predominantly. The singing has been largely raw until the end of last year. I started getting some formal training just because I got back into singing and theatre again. So yeah, I mean, if you were to hand me sheet music, I would look at it and go, ah, ah, ah. So yeah, instinctual piano playing. I just tinkle with the chords and sing along with it, and that's what I do. But the singing is now, I'm getting a bit more into the nitty gritty of it, and it's yeah. The formalized training it's okay. It helps me to get that instant feedback, which had been missing for quite some time. Singing and whiskey, never the twain shall meet. I did sing in one whiskey review. I sang for the I did the Tennessee Whisky old number 7 or old number 5, or is that Mumbo number 5? The Tennessee Whisky one, the Jack Daniels. I sang for it because of the connection of Sinatra and Jack Daniels. There is a Jack Daniels Sinatra Select, and I am going to review that one. I am going to review it, and I might sing again there, but no promises. I don't want to turn it into a singing channel, or do I? Another jazzy question. Best bourbon Tennessee whiskey in my opinion. Ooh, I can give you what I think is the best I've had so far, because that's a bit easier for me. Oh, let's see. Let me ruminate. That's my ruminating face, sort of just a little bit of eyelid flickering as I ruminate. Yeah, I don't know. I think it has to be the rare breed, Wild Turkey rare breed. And it's not just because of the high ABV. It's really good. I really like it. It's not, I think you've got to have one. Come over to my house and have a rare breed. I really liked it. It's probably one of the first bourbons I ever had that made me go, yeah. So that's for me at the moment. I would have to say it's the rare breed, but I haven't really had all that many bourbons. So maybe somewhere along the line I'll find one that blows it out of the water. Don't know. We'll see. We're all growing. I'm growing in a big way. Okay, I've got. Oh yeah, John, you have really, really nice skin. How do you get your skin so clear? I don't know. It's not a compliment. One gets a lot as a man. I'm now looking at my own skin. You've made me self-conscious. I'll drink lots of water. That's what I do. There's your answer. Drink lots of water. Drink whiskey and lots of water, and you can have skin just like mine. It's turned into an advert for moisturizer. I knew this would happen. I'm running out of questions. Let's see. I have 4 people in. That's cool. I know some people go, oh, you better got 4 people. But for me, that's awesome because I know I'm broadcasting at a strange time for most of my fans. What is your favorite review that you've done so far? Oh, that's a bugger of a question. Oh, I don't know. One thing that I have noticed is I can't predict which ones are going to be really, really fun for me to make and which ones won't. That's one thing I will say. So, for instance, the Maker's Mark is the one I just did recently, and I kind of went into that thinking, oh, this is going to be a bit boring. I have nothing to say about this. And then I did it, and I finished it, and I edited it all together, and I really ended up liking it at the end. I went, oh, it's cool. It's one of the best ones I've done. And the Kinter Reuben, which I thought was going to be really good because I really, really liked the Kinter Reuben, I kind of felt was a little bit flat. So I find it hard to predict which reviews I'm actually going to really get a kick out of and which aren't so much. But I don't really have favorites. I'm not too keen on my first few because I was a bit green and I was a bit slow and my camera presence was still a bit wonky. And I think I probably will redo some of those. Yeah, but they're the only ones that I look at and I go, oh. But I think as a YouTuber, you kind of do have to just hit it running and make peace with the fact that you're not going to be great at the start and just get out there and put things up, fly the flag, and see who salutes back at you. I am looking for the next question. Oh yeah, this is going to be a tough one. All the tough questions have come from Jez Wood, friend of mine, colleague, bon vivant. He's asking me, what is my favorite role that I've played on stage? What is my dream role? Yes. Oh, yes. I'll hold on. I will answer that question, Jez, but I am... Mike is saying, I mentioned in the review of Maker's Mark that the ABV dropped 5%. Would the great unwashed like myself recognize the difference? Yeah. I'm trying to project myself back to a time when I didn't really care all that much about ABV because I was just drinking 40%ers. I think you might, actually. I think you might notice a difference. When Maker's Mark were sort of making overtures to bring that ABV down, part of their argument was that they had specific industry taste testers taste it at 43, and they were saying, we can't tell the difference between 45 and 43. But that didn't quite wash. that didn't quite wash with the whiskey community in the States. They said, well, no, we'll tell the difference. But I think between 45 and 40 you can definitely tell. So I think you would be able to notice. Yeah. And as I've sort of been going on, I mean, now 40% now is, the connoisseurs tend to want it a little bit higher than 40. 40 is considered if you want it to be very accessible to everyone, you make it 40% because people of all walks can take it. Back to my Jess is my favorite role. Well, I have to break those up because as a singer, I do the musical thing, and musicals are kind of their own animal in a way. So my favorite role in a musical was when I played Cladwell in what was it called? Urinetown. That was my favorite because I had some really good songs. I liked that character who was that over the top ocker. That was fun, and it was just it was a great cast. Very good direction, very tight. It was probably one of the most professional musicals I'd done. And, it's like when you play tennis, if you play tennis with someone who's a really good player, your own game goes up. So I kind of felt like my own singing and my own acting were very good there because I was supported by a really great team. In terms of just a straight play, so where there's, and when I straight play, and I think non-comedy, because I use both comedy and singing to kind of boost me up a little bit. And so when it's just a straight play and I can't rely on those things and I really have to act, for me, that's a special, that's a different animal. That's the horse of a different color. I think would be The House of Yes, which you directed. And I'm not saying this to blow smoke up your chimney, Jez. No, it was, I mean, we worked on every aspect of that really, really hard. And, and considering the subject matter, which was, as you know, pretty dark, an incestuous brother-sister relationship. Yeah. I know. I just had a lot of fun. It was just good to work on just acting and really laser focusing in on it. I loved it. Those are my favorites. And my dream role, and again, I'm going to have to split that up. So if it was just a straight play, I'd love to play Iago in Othello, William Shakespeare. It's a weird play in that sense because it's kind of like Iago has more lines and stage time than Othello. The play is kind of almost more about him than it is about Othello, but it's just a great role. Everyone wants to play a really awesome villain, and Iago is probably one of the best villains ever written for the stage. Love to play that. And as a musical, I think I'd really like to play Jekyll in Jekyll and Hyde. I couldn't play it now. My voice isn't there. I hope it will be soon. You got to sing some A4s. That's a pretty high note for a baritone. But, we'll get there. We'll get there. Maybe one day. We'll see. We shall see. I'm getting more messages and things. Yes. Let's see. I do have other questions. How long have I been going for before I turn to forms of chemical support to keep this going? I've been on for half an hour, so you got another half an hour of me blithering like an idiot. Let's see. It's Bourbon Tennessee Whisky. Oh, yeah. I might save that question till around the end. Not because it isn't whiskey related, but because it's going to be an epic. And I suspect people will be like going, what the hell is he talking about this for? I did have other questions either. Oh no, I've answered that already. Oh dear. So this is the JP Wiser's 18 years old. It's from Canada. Yeah. The place I get my imports from, because whiskey is some whiskeys can be an absolute pain to get here in Australia. Had this on special, so I got it for that reason, and then I thought I would well, I knew I was going to do other countries this year, and so I thought, well, let's do Canada. And I didn't want to start with those Crown Royals. I wanted to start with something different. Mikey, how often do I enjoy a dram? Oh, yeah, it's interesting. I'm surprisingly not a huge drinker. I don't drink every day, and I don't really drink all that often, which is part of the reason why my shelf space is in dire straits. So I do a review a week, and so I'll have tasted it a couple of times beforehand. I'll do a quick retaste of it before I start shooting, and then I'll do it again. So I only ever pour around about that much. I probably pour less when I'm doing a review. So I don't have a dram a day, but I'd say every third day I'm probably having a little something. I'm also trying to lose weight, and so my way of doing that is to go to the gym. And they do say that having alcohol too soon after a workout retards your muscular growth. And I don't know if that's BS or not, but it scared me enough to make me, oh no, I've just worked out. But yeah, and I have one every now and again, but not. No, I don't drink every day. This is like shoving your face in a Christmas pudding. This JP Wise is 18. I think if I do this, it will be the oldest whiskey I've had. Oh, oldest in terms of maturation. 18 years. What were you all doing 18 years ago? I now have to check and see what I was doing 18 years ago. Oh, it was 2000. Wow, so 2000 when this stuff was probably a little bit earlier than 2000 actually, is when that stuff was barreled. Wow, 2000. Had I turned 20 yet? I don't think so. Maybe I was about to turn 20. Or 18 or something. I've been 18. God almighty. I just realized you'll hear me swishing. I normally edit that out. Me swishing the whiskey away. Oh. I'm going to have to periodically check over here to see if I'm... Actually, after hearing some mixed reports of Canadian whiskey, this is quite nice. I think this will be giving a positive review from me. Like winter spices and sweetness. Very nice. Oh, yes. Someone was asking me about my scoring system. I don't use a scoring system. I just, and I have nothing against people who do, but yeah, I'm a bit iffy about scores because if let's say I did 1 to 5 and I like 5 being the highest, 1 being the lowest, and I get 3 5s, Now, if you say to me, John, out of those 3 5s, which is the best? I'll probably, in all likelihood, be able to tell you, oh, well, I picked that one, then that one in the middle, that one there. But you've just given them all 5. So to avoid that, I don't give scores. You can usually, what I try to do is I try to give you the general impression of whether or not, of just how much I liked it and what I thought of the flavor profile. But I don't give scores because, and also because it's very, very subjective. You know, whiskey is. There are objective elements to it, as in what I'm tasting. Whether I'm particularly enjoying that or not, I will let you know, and I just leave it at that. Are there any whiskies you haven't done yet that you are looking forward to doing? Oh, bloody hell, that's a good one. It's a good one. I probably should have done a little bit more research with these questions I got. My pre-questions. I'm curious about the Chivas Regal Mizunara oak. So I mentioned earlier the Japanese using the Mizunara oak, and it has a very particular, gives it, I almost want to say pine fresh, but it's not pine because it's oak, but this kind of pine fresh feel that you get from it. And I'd be curious to see how that translates to the Chivas, because I'm not sure what they've done to that blend. Or what's going to be in it. And so how that pine freshness will interact with that, I mean, I don't know. So that's a curiosity one. So I'm very curious about that and would like to do it. I don't think if there are any others that I'm particularly looking forward to doing. I haven't done the Auchentoshan 3-wood yet. I liked it very much when I was starting because it is that kind of good for starter dram, but now it's kind of becoming a bit ho-hum. As you sort of get more into whiskey, you start to look for the whiskeys that are a bit more punchy, a bit more flavorsome. And the easy sippers kind of become a bit more, well, you have one when you just want to have a quick, uncomplicated dram. I'm quite enjoying this JP Wiser's. I wonder if this is like, I wonder if this is widely sold in Canada. Because I know sometimes countries tend to send their best stuff to other shores. So I don't know. I'll have to ask Swami. Oh, yes. Do I partake in a Guinness now and then? Oh, why do you ask? I used to. I used to be a bit more of a beer fellow. Then we had the cider revolution in Australia. This is all, which I assume we just got later than everyone else. But yeah, no, I used to quite like it. What I really used to love was Kilkenny. I was mad about it. If I went somewhere and it was on tap, I would get a Kilkenny. That used to be my favorite beer of all time. Probably still is. Just thinking about it now, oh, you're making me thirsty. You're making me thirsty. Yeah. But yeah, I used to drink quite a bit of Guinness. I liked stout beer. I used to drink even Tooheys Old, which, you know, sort of on the lower end of the spectrum. I used to love Tooheys Old. So I used to like the stout beers, Tooheys Old, Guinness. I don't know if Kilbenny was it. Kilbenny. Kilbenny. Oh my God, you killed Kilbenny. yeah, Kilkenny. Was that a stout? I don't know. It was darker. It's all like brown. Whatever it was good. And I used to drink way too much of it. It's funny, since becoming a whiskey nerd, I think whiskey teaches you moderation in a certain way, because you kind of have to. I like to drink it slow, and that doesn't mean I don't occasionally get sozzled. I'm not a freak, but it's hard for me to get sozzled, though. There's so much of me. It takes a long time for the alcohol to sink in. 42 minutes. Okay, I will ask this this last question from Jez, because this could take a while. And if you don't watch or understand Doctor Who, you're about to get an education. Jez asks me who I think the best Doctor is, and what do I think of the Chibnall Wittiker direction the show was taken. All right, Doctor Who, long-running British BBC UK sci-fi show. Lead character is the Doctor. Has the ability to regenerate into different forms, which is just a way to keep the show going on and on and on and on and on, as it has. Currently, my mother and I are doing a marathon of Doctor Who episodes together. That's our mother-son bonding. And at the moment, we're up to Peter Davidson. I think, and it's interesting watching it, because I kind of know what to expect. I know when one Doctor leaves and another one enters, whereas my mother doesn't. So it's interesting to see her kind of go through the stages of grief when one of the Doctors regenerates and a new one comes in. It's always, oh, I don't like this new guy. She just goes, oh, actually, he's not too bad. And just as she's really starting to like the new actor, he regenerates, and then the process repeats. And I think that's kind of an interesting, what's the word for it? Macrocosm of how people just generally react to the new Doctors. But the one exception to that was Tom Baker. Tom Baker, she just accepted instantly, which I thought was very, very telling. And from what I know of it, I think that was historically what happened too. He was probably one of the few Doctors that the public just went, yeah, he's great. He's brilliant in it. There was no sort of mourning period for John Pertwee. That's not to say that his tenure was crap. It was good. It was very different. You know, they kind of went in a James Bondy era with Pertwee. I think for me, the best Doctor is, I mean, it's unoriginal. It's a bit cliche, but I think it is Tom Baker. I would put Peter Davidson as a close second. I think he's probably of the old Who, he's probably the best actor. I think you can really see that he didn't just treat it as just another job. You know, I think by that stage he was kind of aware of the sort of the onus that was on him to take such a part. What do I think of the Chibnall Wittiker thing? I'm more concerned about the Chibnall than the Wittiker. Every time that Doctor Who has sort of gone off the rails, whiskey, every time Doctor Who has gone off the rails, it's probably been because of the BBC. It was that way when Baker was axed. It was that way when the show finally collapsed in '89. I'm seeing one or two things in the show itself. I mean, I'm very bad. I watch all the spoilers. I've already seen Capaldi's departure, even though I haven't got to that part of the show yet. And I'm just seeing things that are cause for concern. And from what I know from friends who are more into New Who than I am, they're saying that Chibnall wrote some pretty shocking episodes during the Moffat era. So, I don't know. So I think if things are going to go in a bad way, I don't think it's going to be because of the new Doctor. I think it's going to be because of the BBC. Yeah. And that's enough about that. I don't now want to be pummeled with a certain contingent of, oh, you hate Doctor Who. I love Doctor Who. Well, I don't love it. I think it's pretty cool. It's a huge time investment. Kirk or Picard? Oh, bugger, that's a great question. Oh, it's a brilliant question. Oh, that's tough. That's tough. I started off as a kind of as a Star Trek purist. I thought it's the original series. This Next Generation and Deep Space 15. That's all too crazy for me. But now I've sort of evolved a little bit. I just loved everything that was Star Trek. And now that I'm older and I understand the less than subtle political messages in it, I kind of think, yeah, a society without money is just never going to happen. But yeah, Kirk or Picard? That's interesting. I think Picard became a better captain after the first 2 seasons. They tried too hard to make him different to Kirk, I think. And it kind of became a joke that Picard just sat in the... I mean, it's more realistic that the captain wouldn't go on these really dangerous away missions. But in terms of it being a TV show, it was like, well, you know, basically the only thing Picard does is sit on the bridge giving wonderful speeches to people. I think they leveled out. So I started off thinking, you know, Kirk is the better captain because, you know, he goes there, he does things. He wasn't... The Prime Directive in Star Trek, if anyone who knows what the Prime Directive is trash. It's garbage. It's a really stupid concept. And Picard was just in love with it. He would let entire civilizations die because of the Prime Directive, whereas Kirk would go, no, yeah, it's interfering, but it's better than letting everyone be slaughtered. So I think, I'll say Kirk. I will say Kirk. But Picard did get better. Like, initially it was Kirk, Picard, and then it sort of became Kirk, Picard, like that. That's how I'm going to answer that question. Oh, these are really great answers I'm giving. Oh. Yeah. Quite liking that. It's a very dry finish. A bit oaky at the end. Why did you change? Oh, yes, the glasses. I changed glasses. Some clever sparks have noticed that I started using the Glencairn, and then I switched to these. This is just easier for me to do this, my crazy Scandinavian glass dance. Then with the Glencairn, I kind of had to cup it like that, and then my fingers would smudge the glass, and it was just annoying. So I ended up getting these. These are just wine-tasted glasses. I tried to get the exact same glasses they use at the Gresham, but I couldn't find that particular distributor. But there you go. Well, I've only got 10 minutes left, and it don't seem a day too long. So if you have any final questions, whiskey or otherwise, I await them with bated breath. I always bait my breath when I'm fishing for compliments. Just making sure that I have not left any of my pre-asked questions online. So thank you very much to Gary, to Alex Smith, your man Alex Smith, to Kim Muldoon, I think, yeah, this is the thing about high school friends, particularly if they're female. Their last names change, and I didn't want to accidentally call you by your maiden name. I'm pretty sure your name is Kim Muldoon now. Who else asked me questions? And Jez Wood. Jez Wood. Life is peaceful there. Oh yes, I still have your housewarming present. I wasn't so gauche as to put it behind. So you I think you will get a kick out of it when you see it. Yes. So what's next for me? I'm thinking of my next review. Oh god, I had something lined up now. I can't remember. Oh, might be the. How many times can I say might in this sentence? Might be the Glengoyne. That means Glengoyne in my head. The Glengoyne 15 years old. But I don't know. I might do that. Definitely going. I've got the George Dickel, 12 years old, behind me, which my brothers lent me. My brother said, "You do whiskey reviews here. Review this," and I will. I might do that Glenglassaugh as well. It's a toss up. I'll either do the Glenglassaugh or the Glengoyne 15. I just want to say "risen from the ashes" again, and if I do the Glenglassaugh, I'll be able to say it like 20 times. So yeah, there are things in the pipeline. Yeah, looking forward to it. Looking forward to them all. Any plans on reviving Hung Parliament? Yeah, I used to do a political podcast with a friend of mine, Ezra, our mutual friend, Mike and mine's unusual friend, unusual mutual friend. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of lost interest in specific politics. That sounded needlessly cryptic. I'm just into big issue politics. So for me, it's individualism. I'm a very big individualist, and that therefore particularly not inclined towards collectivism, particularly the collectivism of identity politics, which I think has a potential to be quite insidious in collectivizing us instead of individualizing us. They might disagree. But yeah, I really haven't been following politics at all. I just get bombarded by it so much. I mean, particularly on Facebook. Sometimes I think the only reason I use Facebook is to be assailed by people's unsolicited political opinions. So yeah, unlikely that I'll be reviving it because it makes me unhappy. But I mean, that's the thing. Yeah, politics is now making me unhappy, and whereas I kind of used to get a kick out of it, now it's just kind of depressing me a bit. So, alas, I think Hung Parliament is probably not going to resurge. But I have been talking to Ezra, and he might be doing a cocktail video. Might be doing some old fashions, and we'll do a thing on this. Where he can regale us all with his old-fashioned making skills. Yeah. Well, everyone, that is roughly the hour up. For all of you who've been watching, all two of you, doesn't matter. Two people. Hey, I was waiting for goose egg. That's what I was expecting. I literally was expecting goose egg. But I got to answer questions, and I kind of had fun. I was very, very nervous the whole way through. I'm glad I got to share with you my political opinions, my my forays into acting and singing, my opinions on British sci-fi. and even an occasional thing about whiskey, believe it or not. Oh, and skincare. It was an AMA. It was meant to be an AMA. Ask me anything. We were meant to go all over the landscape, and we did. Oh, did we ever? It was glorious. I got to get more acquainted with the JP Wises. I think I will review that this month. Might be, no, not this month. Next month. I will review that next month. And I think that will be a positive review. Thank you, everyone, so much for watching. Thank you to all my subscribers. You are why I did this. This is meant to be the 100 subscriber thingo. I was going to do another blooper reel, but I hadn't got enough material yet to do a full blooper reel. Also, I'm just that good, you know, that the bloopers just weren't coming along. Yeah, thank you to everyone. Thank you to all the supporters. Thank you to everyone here tonight. Thank you to all the people who asked me questions. I did just shout you out. Looking forward to doing more reviews. Looking forward to maybe doing more live shows, maybe later. I think I'll wait till I get a few more subscribers. I think you need that critical mass of people to make it worthwhile. Or I might do another one, sort of what for me would be the small hours, so that my American and UK followers can join in. Well, everyone, thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to sampling another whiskey for all you salty dogs very, very soon.